Hello, this is the House on Podcast Hill. I am Zoe,
And I am Gabby.
and we are back here with another episode. Um, Gabby, why don't you give them the download of what's been happening?
Okay, so we're sorry we missed last week's upload. We actually did record an episode and it was actually a really good one. I'm sad you guys missed it. But there was an unknown sound in the background, and every time we tried to fix it, the sound would come to the forefront. I'm calling it a demon. I mean, you can call it whatever you want. We're trying to fix it, so hopefully that episode will go up later. But also in the midst of all that, we moved 3 states. Three? Yeah, we moved to 3 states. So we were just tired, worn out, and we just decided to give ourselves a break last week.
Well, we moved 3 states over.
3 states over.
We didn't move to 3 different states at the same time.
Yep, all at once in 1 week. We moved to 3 different states. We now have 3 different houses. And they're all like one's in New York, one's in California, Texas.
She has a lot of attitude right now.
I'm sorry, I'm in a bad mood.
All right, but yeah, we are here. That's the reason why. Got a friend that helps us out with this all audio stuff, and I'm gonna send it to him, and hopefully he can help figure out what's causing this.
Yeah, we were also trying a new program, and apparently we don't know how to use that program properly or something, or it doesn't like our mics. I have no fucking clue.
So we're back to our old stuff, and we're here for the next episode. Well, we're gonna talk about a local thing to where we just moved. We moved up here to Ohio, in in Medina County, and we were just kind of just told about this murder that happened here, or whatever you want to call it.
A little over a year ago now.
Yeah,
right?
it's probably been over a year. Yeah.
Probably closer to 2.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so we're here. We'll get into it. It's the murder of Byron Macron. He was the trustee to the Lafayette Township here in Medina County. And this whole thing is just really fucking weird. So,
Not only that, how the town reacted to it is actually really weird as well.
yeah, so here are the information that we know. Since this is still an ongoing case, we don't have all the information, and we don't know who did this or what or whatever, but I'm going to tell you what I can find about this and everything like that, and then we'll probably discuss a few theories on what's happening or whatever we want to, go. So basically what we know is that Byron Macron, he was some big guy in the Lafayette Township. He was reported missing in December. They found his office in disarray. His car was parked in some parking lot near Chippewa Lake. And the last time someone saw him was at a social function that night. And then 2 months later in February, they found his body in Chippewa Lake. Yep.
Yep.
And here's what we know about it. The coroner, the Medina County coroner, Lisa Denerick, said he suffered 6 stab wounds, including a long wound on his neck. But none of these injuries alone caused his death. Apparently, it wasn't deep enough or perfectly enough to cause a fatal injury. But it also, this didn't say in a different place, but I got this right now. As it says, while the direction of the wounds could mean that they were self-inflicted, she still was unable to determine the cause of death for sure. So, I guess they're saying that either he was right or left-handed, and that the wounds were made in that way.
So they're saying that they're definitely self-inflicted? Possibly self-inflicted.
Possibly.
Okay.
They're saying the direction of the wounds could mean that, but she said she was unable to determine that for sure.
Because the body was pretty decomposed, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Also, but the weirdest part about this is what we're getting to is number one, there was no blunt force trauma to his head or face, no fractures or bruising to the spine, and no cuts or defensive wounds on his hands. So it's almost like he welcomed whatever happened to him. That's why part of what's happening and what this town is being weird is that they're acting like no one else was involved.
Okay.
But the weirdest part about it is that there was no evidence of any lung trauma and no foreign body or of water in his lung tubes, which means
he did not drown.
So he did not drown. That wasn't the cause of death. And they still have that cause of death as undetermined. No one knows exactly what did the fatal blow to this guy. But we know he didn't drown. And
the wounds were not.
the wounds weren't lethal enough. And if he would have done it into the lake or whatever, lungs would have been filled with water and he would have been dead.
So, and there's no way to tell if he bled out from his wounds. Like, is that even possible? I'm not.
Yes. Well, I don't know exactly. Like I said, there's one across the neck. But I mean, if it didn't cause a fatal injury, I mean, so he didn't hit an artery.
Okay.
And the quickest way to bleed out is to do an artery.
Right. Right.
So, but still, it's pretty weird. They said his toxicology tests were positive for alcohol, and the results also showed amphetamine, but they said that it was caused by the level of decomposition.
Oh.
So I guess in decomposition, your body develops amphetamine. I didn't know that. It's kind of weird, but
I knew that your body definitely goes through changes. It can produce different, I don't know what you want to say, chemicals and stuff because of the decomposition process, but I didn't know that was one.
Yep. Also says here that essentially the sheriff's office is saying that only one person was involved in his death. The only one, and it was himself. But they will not call it a suicide. It also says here, though, which is kind of weird. It didn't say any of this about earlier, but apparently authorities compared the blood in the trustee office, because the office was all disarray. Apparently there's blood in the trustee office. But they concluded it only belonged to him and no one else.
So in his office, it was all someone came in and fucked it up, and his blood was in there. And no evidence of anyone else? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
There's no... I mean, sure, the office is in disarray, and there was blood, but still, I guess they're saying that there's still no evidence to support that someone else was there. I mean, these people seem pretty hard-lined on making this, no one involved but him.
I want to reiterate really quickly, because one, this is an open investigation, and two, no one really knows what happened as of yet. We are doing nothing but speculating. This is all pure speculation from us.
Yes, this nothing but pure speculation is happening. And whatever we say here, we're not trying to discredit anyone or throw shade at, either the police or the town or whatever we end up talking about here. Because we've only been here for about a week, so we don't know everybody, and we technically haven't even been to this actual place. We live in the same county, but not in the same city.
Yeah, we're just reading news articles.
So we're just reading news articles and, giving our opinion based on what evidence they've released to the public. They also say that he had a large amount of personal debt. They wouldn't elaborate about that out of the respect for the family, but apparently he had a large amount of debt. But it also says, though, prior to his death, he purchased security equipment and changed his passwords. And according to the local police, the FBI has not even been able to get access to his computer.
What?
Yep.
I call bull. I'm sorry. What? I mean, that's ridiculous. They've been able to hack into so many other things, other people's information. They're supposedly recording everyone right now. You're telling me they couldn't get into his computer?
That's not the FBI. That's the CIA or the NSA.
Government. To me, they're all the same.
This shit ain't Criminal Minds, Gabby. They don't got a Penelope Garcia in real life.
I bet they do. They're hiding her somewhere. They got her hidden in the back somewhere. Anyway, but you're telling me this is a guy from a small town, from a small county, and you're telling me you can't get into his laptop? You can't get into his personal records?
Yeah.
That's not shady to you?
But but I understand what your point of view. But at the same time, I also see it a different way. Isn't it shady that this person who randomly ends up dead, that no one knows how he died, or whether it was himself or someone else or nothing like that? Why, if they actually can't get into his computer, why does he have that much security on his computer? What is he actually hiding? And I don't know. And before
what, motherfucker?
Before there's any backlash for what I'm about to say, plus there's probably nobody really listening to this podcast anyway.
You never know.
But, if someone does hear this and is all like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they actually would say that about the victim. And I'm not,
no.
And I'm not trying to throw shade at the victim. I'm not trying to, do whatever. I'm just saying that if it is true that the FBI can't get it, why does this guy have so much security on his computer, and what is he hiding? And therein lie could be the possible motive for someone to murder him in the first place.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, no matter what we say or what we speculate, it is still a tragedy that this man is dead the way that he died. I mean, no matter what we say or what is said of him, he was a person, he had a family, a loving family, and it's a tragedy. But I still think they can get into his computer. I mean, seriously. Where could he have possibly gotten the protection or whatever? I obviously don't know computers. But still, where would he have gotten anything like that to keep the FBI out of his computer?
I don't know. I mean, there's tons of places out there where people can get security software and stuff like that. And especially if you're a person who really wants to hide something. Not saying that he was hiding something, but it is pretty weird if it's true that the FBI can't get into his computer. I mean, there's places you can go. There's tons of free software or stuff on the internet. There's the dark web and all that crap, I mean...
Yeah.
I mean, there's super hackers out there, that can do some crazy stuff. So I'm sure someone has made some software. So I have no idea where he got it from or why he needed it.
Right.
Or if he actually has it all and they're just stalling, I mean, with some of the investigations, they try not to release certain information just because if they ever catch someone in a confession or whatever, they can be like, oh, well, we didn't tell the public about this certain thing, they can trip you up and essentially get something like that.
Right. I keep forgetting, because usually what we do and what we research is like solved cases where all the information is on the open. I keep forgetting that this is still an ongoing investigation.
I mean, it's ongoing.
Yeah.
And we don't know. We just think it's pretty weird. Especially for the place, we're living in here. Because this doesn't seem like a place that something like this would happen. And either some sort of cover-up or some sort of person killing him for some, reason that he's some secrets or something he's blackmailing. I don't know.
Right.
I mean, it's a pretty odd place for it to happen, but at the same time, more I've looked up around this county is there's been other things that happen. There was like a triple murder / suicide thing that happened. And then also read about some teenager, or he was like adult / teen, killed like an 80-year-old lady. and stuff like that. So random stuff does happen out here. Just, I don't know.
But still, with those, there was, like, they knew who did it. There was resolve. And, like, I mean, there wasn't this much mystery or drama around any of it. Because, like, with this, I mean, they're saying no one was involved in his death except himself. And so far, what they've revealed, there is no evidence to state that. And, I mean, they're saying it wasn't a suicide. So you're telling me he accidentally cut himself in those places, died, and then threw himself in the river? I mean, accidentally? I don't understand. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Basically what they're saying. Well, here's the whole thing about that is they're specifically talk about the murder here. So to me, what they're saying is they have no evidence that actually says anyone was involved with his death.
But you can't,
so
but they're
they can't even conclude that that's true either. They say there's no evidence that another person was there. But at the same time, there had to be another person to throw his body in the river if it was inflicted or something like that.
And I wonder, like, 2 months is a pretty long time to be missing. So I wonder what his organs looked like. Like, did he starve? Was it dehydration? I mean, I'm guessing his body was too decomposed because of the water to maybe tell. I don't know. I really don't know how that works. But do you think any of that's a possibility?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like if it was that simple, the coroner would have already said that was the case. You know?
I guess.
I mean, the coroner's job is literally to find the cause of death. You know, the actual final blow that made your heart and your lungs and your brain, you know, shut down. And if it was something that easy, I feel like they wouldn't have it be considered undetermined at this point, you know? I mean, and this whole thing about the stab wounds and the knives and everything, it's weird. I mean, because either it could have been him, like, messing with himself, you know, and, like, cutting himself, or it could have been, like, some other person torturing him at the same time.
Yeah.
But then it's still weird on what actually caused his death either, because there's no water in his lungs. So, like, the lake obviously was just a dump site, either or, for whatever actually happened. So what dealt the final blow?
I want to speculate. They said he had some debts, but I think it was the family you said?
Well, no, it's basically just said that he has a large amount of personal debt, but out of respect for the family, they do not want to elaborate on what exactly that means. So for all I know is he could either owe someone in his family, or owe, like, a close personal friend, or hell, he could owe, like, the town. You know, like, maybe that's something had to do with, like, misappropriation of funds or something, or
well, yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I want to speculate on that some more because, I mean, I don't think the town would go and kill him over this or owe the town or anything. I'm just saying, what if he owed someone dangerous some money? What if he had a bunch of gambling debts? I mean, Ohio has never really been the place for me. When I think Ohio, I don't think mobsters or gangsters or...
Well, that's not exactly true either, though.
What do you mean?
Well, in Cleveland, there used to be, like, in Cleveland, like, you know, when we were moving here, my dad kept on talking about unions and everything like that up here.
Yes.
He's not wrong. Unions were a big thing up here. It probably still are.
I feel like unions are kind of a big thing everywhere, though.
Yeah.
What's your point?
But the point is, back in the day, unions were a big thing for organized crime.
What?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Heck yeah. It's a big thing with organized crime. But yeah, there was, like, I watched a movie, what was it, called Kill the Irishman. It's a pretty good movie, pretty decent. And it's about a real-life mobster here in Cleveland. And about how he took over, like, his local thing and I mean, he started basically as a worker, then became like a union leader, and then eventually, became like this big crime boss or whatever.
Huh.
And apparently, it was so big. Apparently, in one summer, they said something like 50 car bombs went off that year trying to kill somebody or something like that and kill him. So I'm just saying that maybe not all of Ohio is what you
Right.
think. I mean, small town Ohio, I don't really see like an organized crime or a mob or a big like
No.
gang thing. What? Although gangs do happen in small towns,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I'm still yeah. I don't know. Sorry. You continue with what you were saying. I was just stating that there's some places in Ohio that do have some, are synonymous with something like that, but specifically where we're living, we don't see it that way.
Right. I don't know. I just. Well, one, I don't think unions are like that anymore. At least I haven't seen any evidence as of late for a union to be connected in that way.
Yeah, see, I don't know. I mean, as far as I know, organized crime is really not as bad as it used to be, but at the same time, the whole thing was organized crime. These mob or mafias or whatever, they were pretty good at, not being on the front page of the news
Yeah.
and being common knowledge.
But okay, but even if he did have a debt like that to like, a mob or whatever, he like his family wouldn't know about that. He'd be keeping that a secret and they wouldn't be stating that he had some debts, but in order to protect the family, they'd keep that quiet. Like that doesn't make sense. I've never heard of that before. But I do like I don't know. The only thing I can really think of is a gambling debt. Cuz that's the only thing to me that really fits in with this. But except minus the killing part. you know?
Well, it's not a crazy thing for a person to be murdered over illegal gambling debts.
Right.
I mean,
I don't know. It's just if you guys could just see this town. I mean, across the street is a church from us. We're at my parents' place right now. Down the road, there are literally houses with white picket fences. Like, it just doesn't.
does not compute.
It really doesn't. And also just the fact that the town doesn't really seem to care. Like, no, there was no news articles saying that this guy was missing for 2 months or last seen here.
Apparently, a report was filed. Though they say that in December, a report was filed that he was missing.
But he's a guy in office. Like he's a big important guy. You think more would have been done, more would have been said.
Yeah, and the only reason some of this stuff is happening right now is just because I think the family hired like a lawyer or something like that to really push along the investigation.
Like his father came out to the news and said that he feels like no one is helping his family. No one is looking into his son's death and he doesn't understand why.
Yeah.
That's also something that gets me. I don't know. I'm just like if it was just a murder and people were looking into it, I wouldn't be interested. I wouldn't have even brought this up to a podcast. But just the lack of interest from this town in this case kind of baffles me.
Don't worry, we're showing interest.
Well, yes, we are showing interest, and I want to know.
So this goes out to you internet sleuths out there trying to solve murders and everything like that. There's not much information on this case as of right now, so I don't know what you'll be able to do. But in case one of you are listening, try to figure this shit out, because this is really fucking weird.
Yeah, what was the name of the lake that his body was found in?
Chippewa Lake.
Chippewa Lake. Like, if you look up Chippewa Lake, Ohio, dead body, you'll find it the fastest that way.
Or Byron Macron.
His name is Byron?
Byron. Byron.
Ooh.
Last name Macron. Macron.
I kind of like the name Byron. I don't know why.
That's
Sorry,
weird.
that was
It's an
weird.
old fucking name.
Old names can be nice. Okay, guys. It looks like this one's gonna be really short. Like, once again, the move is killing us. Because of the whole episode last week just going to heck. We had to really quickly find information, so
I'm starting a job, and I've been trying to figure that out. Not to mention, either I have allergies or a swimmer's ear, and I have all this weird crap going on, and I can't really hear out of one ear. So basically, it's a lot of stuff happened, and we're really trying to put out something for you. So
yeah. So I hope
this might.
Sorry, we talk over each other a lot, guys. I'm sorry.
This might be short or whatever, but we're just really trying to give you some good content and something to really think about. Because to me, this is a thinker.
It's a flanker. Sorry.
So yeah, so I guess this is where we say ta-da, toodaloo,
Fairly well.
goodbye,
So
farewell to you, my friends. You ever watch Out of the Box? Man, that's my shit.
I really didn't. I never heard of Out of the Box until I met you.
You are insane, woman. I love you.
It's not my fault.
All right, we're just gonna say goodbye and good luck, and hope you found this somewhat interesting and gives you our fix till our next episode next week.
Bye, guys. We'll see you next week. Ah!
Didn't work.